Okay. All right, folks, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Wednesday. We're going to be starting just a moment. 5 minutes. All right. JR says we're good to go. Yes. Okay. Attorney Stephanie Murphy going to be joining us right out of the box. There I am. All right. And we are live. We will be out doing Road Patrol Live later. Very successful on Court TV this morning. And then we'll update you on the Cranston caregiver situation and a lot more. That. Okay, there I am. Okay. We are 4 minutes from live. 4 minutes from live. By the way, that was also this morning, Julie Grant of Court TV mentioned the search for Linda. So that was very, very nice. And also, hey, that's acknowledgement on national television that they were following that search. I should have yelled out Cranston Police, but I don't like to push it. Okay. Now, also, as you know, we're on different platforms. That. And there's some video of an incident that happened this morning at Dunkin' Donuts on Atwood Avenue. It is on YouTube, and we're live on YouTube right now. And it's also on X. I do not have it, and it's on Instagram. I'm not posting it on Facebook or TikTok, only because I don't know if they're too, they're so sensitive. It's always tough, folks. It's tough with all the platforms have different rules. And so anyhow, all right, we're going to be, they were terrific. And then did just get out of the hospital. We're live in 3 minutes. Excuse me, 3 minutes. We'll have Stephanie Murphy on. And Linda is out of the hospital. And then we will follow up. We obviously want to do a live with her, but, let her get settled with the family. The whole thing is still remarkable, but we'll touch on that and then some other stories as well. Let's see. This is hold on. Do this. Maybe it's this one. Wait for JR. Let's see. Is this it?
Let's bring up now our friend John DePietro, the creator and host of the show Road Patrol Live, was in the courtroom watching it, and also here for this segment we have
this was this morning on Court TV.
Borghardt, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. So John, let me start with you.
She's terrific, Julie Grant. All right, folks, 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me also just play. She mentioned the Cranston story.
With this case, John DePietro, I know we're going to have you back soon. Following you on Twitter in the meantime. By the way, great job with the woman found alive in Rhode Island. You did great reporting.
How about that?
Wonderful job.
Cranston Police.
Thank you for being here this morning. And
isn't that great, folks? All right, we are standing by for national. Oh, good. Thank you, Bendy. Bendy saw me in the courtroom yesterday. All right, we're just waiting for JR. And we're going to be live in just a moment. I mean, I know we're live now, but we'll begin our program is what I mean. And there it is. Folks, good afternoon. This is The Real News at 106. There I am. I see myself on X. We're also live on Facebook. And then we're also live on YouTube. But wait, there's more. We are, as we speak right now, there's someone on 146 in Lincoln, and they're listening to AM 1380 or 99.9 FM, or you have people, remember, you can listen anywhere in the world, excuse me, folks, online at our website, dpetro.com. And I learned that and know that. I learned that firsthand when, let's see, it was now 3 years ago when we were in Poland, Eastern Europe, and then Ukraine. So there's no shortage of ways to get the program, follow the program. Again, right now we're live on Facebook and YouTube and X as our platforms continue to grow. I do have people ask me about what we thought about Instagram and TikTok. One step at a time. YouTube's, where we're focusing right now. But anyhow, folks, this portion of the program, check out dpetro.com. We have more information. We really have everything, and kind of led the weekend with all of our coverage. And you heard that was the great Julie Grant, excuse me, of Court TV, where they were even following the coverage of the missing woman, Linda. And by all accounts, and I know in Cranston they had a situation this morning. They had a ceremony and honored the person that found her. So I want to remind you now, as someone that spends a lot of time in court. Now, I was in court Monday when the Cranston caregiver, they had the hearing for her. And then, you saw the very dramatic video where the nieces were going after the caregiver. Yesterday, in Dedham, in court for the Karen Reed trial. Folks, I want to remind you, if you need legal advice, take advantage. Free consultation. Just call them and say, I'm a friend of the show. And that, number one, get some free legal advice. Number two, maybe you do need an attorney. Take it from there. Find out. It's Marin, Barrett, and Murphy, criminal defense attorneys, over 50 years combined Rhode Island criminal defense experience. Your fight becomes their fight. Call them. Free consultation. Take advantage of it. 401-228-8271. Look for them on both Facebook and Instagram. It's Marin, Barrett, and Murphy. And joining us right now is, in fact, one of the attorneys from the firm. And we talked to her. It's Stephanie Murphy. Good afternoon, Stephanie. Oh, hold on. Let me just double check. Okay, could be on unmute. It says, okay, it says mic not connected. We had this problem just the other day. Let me, I don't know why. It's showing mic not connected. And so it could be mic not connected. That's odd because we can see her and she's in a perfect shot. And I would tend to think she's like me. And so, let's see. Let's do, let me see. We had this with the nieces. So I know. Why don't we, we're going to disconnect and try reconnecting again. So I don't know why. Disconnect and try again. So check your phone. We're going to, we should bring it right back. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Sorry, folks. I'm really sorry to Stephanie. Let's wait and see and give it a minute. Again, these things can happen, and I know people are anxious. So let me. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, there we go. And let's You're up. I can hear you perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Stephanie Murphy, first of all, good afternoon. Stephanie, let's start right out of the box with the situation. Very high profile over the weekend and actually started last Wednesday. And that is, I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts on the caregiver situation. And what I find unique is she's facing unique charges due to the nature of what her profession is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was also in court too, and also in the parking garage when all that footage was filmed too. So I did kind of see firsthand everything that was going on in court this week. So that was interesting. In terms of the charges, she is charged with 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors. And the felony is stemming from the position that she's in for the caring of the lady. So really, she's facing a pretty severe felony charge. Where right now she was given bail, she's out on bail, and as soon as the court screens the case, she'll be then having to report to Superior Court in order to answer to those charges.
In hindsight, and granted, it's 2020. According to the police, and Stephanie, as I've talked about, they were pretty aggressive with the press release. They immediately put out that it was a criminal investigation. They put out that, according to them, she misled them about Burlington Coat Factory. Granted, hindsight 2020. But what should she have done when seemingly at some point she realized that Linda, her patient, had somehow gotten out of the vehicle?
Well, I really think, first of all, she should have reported it if she knew about it, and reporting it sooner rather than later is definitely a step in the right direction. 2 of her charges are actually based on her actions, the obstruction charge and the filing of false police report. But anyone in this situation should immediately contact an attorney like myself in order to get advice, because your attorney would be able to ask you those important questions and be able to communicate for you with the police. So instead of you going in and giving a statement about what happened, your attorney can communicate with the police and the police department in order to get your message out without you possibly incriminating yourself. So I think the first thing is, she should have consulted an attorney and then spoke to the police.
How often, Stephanie, do you and other attorneys in your firm deal with people who something happens and they're less than truthful with police?
I think a lot of times it's the person's first instinct not to incriminate themselves and not to be completely truthful. But in an investigation like this, by completely misleading the police department and them having video surveillance and other witness statements, it really hurts her in that case. Because then when she does say what really happened, the police already have her lying to them at least once, maybe more. So we see a lot of these cases where once you start a lie, you're trying to get out of the lie. And then when you finally realize that you need to be truthful, that they have evidence against you or evidence that doesn't support your story, then it's almost too late for the police to believe you.
Finally, Stephanie, on this case, as much as it's obviously very serious for this, Roberta, the caregiver, but to me, she kind of dodged a bullet and got lucky because Linda, the woman, was seemingly found alive. And now we, learn more. It was a block away from where, I guess, the caregiver, my understanding, left her in the vehicle, went into the nail salon. And now it would seem that that's what they think. She was found in a vehicle a block away. But this case could have been, if she had not been found, now you're facing all of this with then death resulting.
Well, absolutely. So first of all, it's wonderful that she was found and everything like that. But yeah, Roberta would be facing very, very, very severe consequences. Right now, the felony charge carries up to 5 years in jail, along with the other charges. But if anything had happened to Linda and she wasn't okay, those charges would be absolutely more serious, and she could be held without bail.
Wow. Now, the Karen Reed trial is in the news, Stephanie Murphy, and jury selection starts next Wednesday. A lot of people that I encountered, they say, well, how are they going to find someone that hasn't heard of the case? Could you just touch on, when someone's being selected for a jury, it's my understanding, it's not that they've never heard of the case. What goes into when you're representing a client and you're part of the jury selection process? What exactly are you looking at or looking for?
So yeah, in terms of jury selection, some judges will use a questionnaire. So what they do is they give the potential jurors a questionnaire and they fill it out. And it could ask questions such as, how much do you know about this case? Do you know any? Have you formed any opinions? Do you know anybody involved in the case? So a questionnaire can really kind of weed out some of the people who would not be a fit juror for this case. If a questionnaire is not being given, then it's all done through, conversations that the judge or the defense attorney or prosecutor has with each potential juror. A lot of times things are done at sidebar during jury selection as to not influence the other jurors who are in the box, because sometimes something one juror could say could lead another juror to change their belief or have an opinion. So it's very difficult, especially in such a high stake case as this, finding people who haven't formed an opinion, who haven't really heard about the case or know anybody involved in it. So I think it's going to be very difficult. A lot of times in Rhode Island, you would bring in 40 or 60 potential jurors, but in this case, I think it's going to be well over 100 that they'll have to bring in order to seat a fair and impartial jury.
And again, it's not that someone would say, I've heard about the case and you're dismissed. If it's my understanding that what you're saying, it would be more of if they have followed it and formed some opinions about it.
Correct. Like I would, if somebody in my jury made a comment stating, "Oh yeah, no, I followed it," I would ask them how much they followed it, if they went in person, if they watched it, if they just watched news clips. I would ask them about their opinion of what happened in the first trial, and based on those answers, they could be removed for cause, or I could use one of my challenges and get them off the jury for one of those reasons.
Final question on this, but how difficult is it? What is your experience as you're going through jury selection for a case?
I think it depends on the magnitude of the case and what the charges are. If some of the charges are like a sexual assault or child molestation, I feel like you really need to make sure on behalf of your client that you're picking the right jurors for the case, ones that are unbiased, ones that don't have any family members or them themselves been, a victim of any sort of abuse. So it really depends on the case. The higher the stakes in the case, meaning the sentence and what the charges are, I think the more you always have to be careful in jury selection, but you really have to be careful in some of those cases because in answering basic questions, a juror could kind of hide a bias, but you really have to dive in deep. And it's a great opportunity during jury selection in order to get to know the jurors, get to know their background, get to know so many things about them. So I think every defense attorney definitely needs to take advantage of that opportunity and speak to the jurors. It's also a great time to start and develop a relationship with the jurors too. So you definitely need to use it to your advantage to help your client for a variety of reasons.
Folks, again, our guest is attorney Stephanie Murphy. Stephanie, staying with the Karen Reed case just for a moment. I was in court there. They were arguing third-party culprit. If you could just touch on that, the prosecutor's trying to say that they haven't established evidence that they could use it. But if you could just touch on third-party culprit, maybe if there's a case that you used it, or how is it traditionally used and how effective can it be?
Yeah, so in this case, the defense is arguing that someone else could have committed the crime. So instead of focusing on the defendant and what she didn't do or did, what they're doing is they're kind of shifting the blame to somebody else. So the defense is not trying to prove their client's innocence, but rather they're suggesting that a third party was really responsible. So that's what the motion was, and this is what one of the strategies the defense is trying to put through. In Rhode Island, we also have that, and it is used to kind of point the finger at somebody else. But in order to get it admitted, there is a threshold that has to be met. So it has to be relevant. The evidence has to be admissible. There's all different types of evidence they can try to bring in to try to prove the third party. But the defense doesn't necessarily have to prove the third party's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They just need to raise reasonable doubt about the defendant's guilt. So more like shifting the blame to a third party who could have been responsible for the end result, therefore making it so the defendant's not responsible.
Stephanie Murphy, also right now as we speak, and this could change, but the headline, Middletown police are searching for the driver involved in a hit and run. If you were advising or the driver is watching right now, what would you tell the driver that the police are searching for involved with this hit and run?
Well, if the driver was to call me, I would definitely have a consult with them and ask them, about what happened, about what they knew. I recently had a trial in Kent County that was a hit and run accident resulting in death, actually. So that went to a jury trial. So I'm well familiar with this charge and what the obligations are for any motorist. Sometimes in these cases, a motorist might have absolutely no idea that somebody was struck, or they know and they're worried about something else, whether or not the person has a warrant, whether or not they were intoxicated. There's a lot of different reasons, but I think it's so important to talk to an attorney, tell them what happened. And, if the police have, investigation, they have videos, they have pictures. The police in my case took about several weeks to find the driver of my client, but they ultimately found her and had video surveillance of it. So definitely reach out to an attorney right away. Even if you leave the scene and you call an attorney afterwards, you do have a duty to stop and render aid and report it to the police. But talking to an attorney immediately would definitely be in your best interest.
You would agree right now, whoever this attorney is, someone else, better to contact the police instead of them coming to find you.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, there are some defenses, that you didn't know that somebody was struck. But under the law in Rhode Island, it's not only you not knowing, it's a reasonable person in that situation would have to not know. So definitely contacting the police, letting them know what you knew and getting your side of the story out before they show up, to arrest you with their side of the story, I think would definitely be very helpful.
Folks, now it's time for Murphy's Law. This is a story that attorney Stephanie Murphy has found for us. And what do you have this week, Stephanie?
So it's not so much of a story as just kind of talking to the audience about what happens when you get charged with a felony. I kind of feel like this is coming up in regards to Linda's case and stuff like that. So specifically in Rhode Island, if you get charged and arrested with a felony charge, you do normally appear in district court, and they call it an arraignment, but it's not really an arraignment. So what you do is you appear, and the district court will reset bail or, agree to set bail at some time. So the first appearance on a felony charge is most likely, there's always exceptions, in district court. So let's say you get charged with a felony, you appear in district court, bail gets set, and hopefully you're released. There are some felonies where you can be held without bail. But the part that's most confusing, I think, is after you get released in district court about what happens. So Rhode Island typically has about 6 months to officially charge you with the felony charge. And in Rhode Island, that can be done by a grand jury indictment or by the information process. And I just think it's really confusing for people out there. They say, oh, I went to court, I got arrested, I got charged, but nothing's going on with my case. And it's not that something's not going on with the case. The Attorney General's office has an obligation to screen the case and see if what the police are reporting is enough to bring forward charges. So I just kind of want to explain that to people, because I do get a lot of questions that, oh, I appeared in court, but I only have a screening date. When do I start going back to court? And I just thought it was something important to just bring up with your audience in terms of the criminal process in district and superior court.
Definitely. And Stephanie, the caregiver, Roberta, she was released Sunday night on what, you'd consider low bail. People were surprised at that. And then she walked out of court. I don't know about walked, actually ran out of court, but is not due back in court until June 23rd. So people are asking.
That's really not even a court date, John. What that is just a screening date. So that court date will probably come and go. And if the AGs have informed the case, because that case would be done by information, then she'll start going to superior court. But she hasn't, then she would most likely not appear in court on that June date until the case gets screened and she starts going to superior court.
Okay. And Stephanie, again, well, folks, I'll just say it. Listen, if you have a legal question, I think it's a tremendous offer. Take advantage, call up, find out. You could either get some guidance. You could find out maybe it's not a legal situation, but you don't know unless you call. Stephanie, great job as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon. Bye.
All right, folks, there it is. Attorney Stephanie Murphy, who, and you can tell, I really enjoy talking to her. She is very knowledgeable. Folks, so much of the news that we cover is in fact tied in. Obviously, you see when we're out and we're doing one element of the little part, but it's kind of like Law and Order. That's the way I like to describe it, and that's how I feel comfortable in including that type of segment. Now, on this Wednesday, remember, you can call her 401-228-8255. 8271, Marin, Barrett, and Murphy. Now, this portion of our program is brought to you by Propane Plus. Give them a call, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Propane Plus, 401 885 4209, or in Massachusetts, 508 252 3359. Propane Plus, heating and cooling. You can depend on Propane Plus, whether it's residential or commercial. It's Propane Plus, and online at propaneplus.com. Now, on the platform X, there's a lot of information about the Karen Reed trial. I believe, let's wait and see how it plays out, starting with jury selection next week. There's so much hype around the trial, but I think we're going to wait and see what's going to happen. Now, regarding the caregiver situation, I know that people, because I hear from you, that are upset of how did she get released and why did she get released and what's going on with the investigation. I think a lot of that, it's my understanding with the Cranston police that they are still going through everything. But aside from that, the good news to take away in my mind on this Wednesday, March 26th, is just the fact that Linda is not only safe, it's incredible, but I believe it was learned, or they released today, information that she's actually home with her family. So she had been living in a group home, which a lot of special needs adults do. But for now, it sounds like she's with her family, which sounds terrific. And again, it is we're going to continue to follow different parts of that. I think it's very, very positive that there are so many people that are now engaged in that. You know, that case struck a nerve. And whether it's people involved with Special Olympics or people that would like to get involved with, draw more attention to, lack of a better word, but just that community and a lot of the families that have to deal with that I think it's a positive. I also want to mention, and I think this is interesting, and it's the Michelle Romano case. And we've done some videos on it. Some cases are, I don't want to say easier, but every case is a different dynamic. And I think it is interesting. Yesterday, the Warwick police put out a statement saying that she is missing, but they didn't believe foul play was involved. Now, I received a statement from the Warwick police this morning where they said they don't believe it's suspicious, but they're keeping everything open. I could be wrong. That seems a little different than what they told Channel 12, or that could just be different of what Channel 12 reported. But I want, how can I say, I see these messages from people like, you should be paying attention to the Michelle Romano. And what does that mean? And do what? Now, that is a case that, part of this comes into, it's the Warwick police and how they're going to investigate that and what they're going to investigate. So, as I said, all cases are different. When people mention the Charlotte Lester case, I know more about that case. I put my knowledge about that case up against anyone. What really kickstarted that was that Mark Perkins' home was yellow crime scene tape and was a crime scene for a month. No one in or out. No one was allowed to go in. He couldn't live there. The entire property was a crime scene. Well, that certainly got attention. And then you saw the situation with Linda, who went missing. It was just a week ago, last Wednesday at 4:00 about that, when she was reported missing. Cranston police put something out, and then they put something out last Thursday morning. And then last Thursday night, we were live in front of the house. But in this particular situation, I mean, you can't just, there's different, you can't just start going around. Like, I don't even know what that means. You should be covering it. Covering what? I mean, how many times can you share a missing photo? My point is there has to be an element of law enforcement involved here. And so I have been in touch with the work police. I've been in touch with the work police since back in the fall. But I don't know. What are we supposed to do? Just go broadcast from Oakland Beach and saying that she's missing? I don't know enough about it. I do know that I can't ignore. Let me say this. I can't ignore that as of right now, unless it changes, the Warwick police, they are saying that they don't believe it's suspicious. And I also want to mention there are some people that don't know about the case. They don't know about some of the people involved in the case. They don't know that if, just as an example, they don't know if there's someone, a family member or a friend who is throwing the investigation off by insisting the person's alive. That certainly throws things off. So I just want to, every case is different. And I'm not going to use the word easier, but the circumstances are different. And even the Charlotte Lester case, that was a delay. She was last seen Monday night. No one contacted the police that Thursday. We've since learned, by the way, with the Charlotte Lester case, that the clerk at a nearby store should have called the police on Tuesday. And Charlotte could have been alive on Tuesday. I don't know how many people realize that. Mark Perkins went into a store and started saying, we had the ultimate blowout last night. My home is a bloodbath. I may have killed her. And the person at the store listened to that. There's film of him telling the story and demonstrating the punching. And the clerk didn't even contact the police. Charlotte could have been alive. So my point is this, and then, the situation, the caregiver had to report that Linda was missing. As far as I know, there's a lot of speculation, as to what might have happened to her. For that, we're going to have to wait on Cranston Police. I want to talk a little local government in just a moment. But folks, this portion of the program, Kids Club on the Pike. Everyone raves about Kids Club on the Pike. You're welcome. So many people said, thank you for telling us about Kids Club on the Pike, birthday party venue, before and after school care, preschool. Kids Club on the Pike, right off of 295 on Plainfield Pike on the Cranston-Johnston line. It's Kids Club on the Pike. And right now, you can register your child for summer camp. Maybe it's summer camp for a week. Maybe it's for a month. Maybe it's for the entire summer. Kids Club on the Pike, easy to get to, right off of 295. Call Kristen, 401-443-5336. They're fantastic. It's Kids Club on the Pike. And let's see. I also want to mention at 134, don't forget, someone had asked me just the other day, Kevin asked that he's having a boiler problem. Who did I recommend? Modern Mechanical. Contact Richard and his crew at Modern Mechanical. Central air conditioning installation, central air conditioning repair and maintenance, ductless air conditioning, repair and maintenance, boiler repair and maintenance, furnace installation, heater repair and maintenance. Folks, Modern Mechanical. Call them 401-441-5442. Call them. They're terrific, right on Jefferson Boulevard. It's Modern Mechanical. At 135, with all of these crime-related stories, I do want to mention something that I don't hear anyone getting into right now. What I mean by, or covering, there's a little bit of a controversy involving Rhode Island Governor. Oh, hold on one moment, folks. Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Okay. Well, this is exciting. All right. For planning purposes, the following names have been selected for the week of April 1st to start the Karen Reed trial. Boom. First name. Also, Boston 25, Channel 10. There we go. Boston.com, Channel 7, Christina, Channel 4, Mass Live, Dateline NBC, Channel 5, and Turtle Boy. The alternates are, NBC 10. Oh, wait a minute. I said NBC 10, right? Oh, NBC 10 Boston and News Nation. So, okay. So that is too funny. Folks, first list. There we go. We're in. This should be fantastic. So let me just send this to the people at Court TV. All right. And JR, that's going to affect us next week. Let me just send this. 137. Too funny. There's 100 names. 100 names. And I'm the first name drawn. There you go. All right. There we go. I'll just let someone else post that. Too funny. All right. So that's good. That's very good. All right. Let me stay on schedule. What was I going to talk about? That's right. The raises. I'm a little thrown. Now we know what I'm referring to that I don't hear the media talking about. I don't hear the media talking about that Governor Mckee is insisting on these raises. There's some stories about it. Don't get me wrong. All right. Well, we're in court next week, jury selection. We're going to make it work. There's lunch breaks. I'll come out during the lunch break and then do the real news. We'll just be doing it from Dedham, which is fine. Mckee doubles down on pay raises as state loses $31 million in federal grants. So here's what I want you to understand. Hold on. My phone is going nuts with people. Thank you. All right. Oh, wow. Whoa. That's a big name. Okay. It is true. I'm part of a podcast through Paul Morrow, who's former commissioner of police in New York City. He's also an attorney. You see him. He is a Fox News contributor. I hope Bendy's listening. He does a podcast for Fox Nation, and they had me on for the Karen Reed trial. So that's exciting. So that, well, that's good because there's no guarantee exactly how this is going to work, but now we know. It's just funny to me that I'm the first name. So that will be April 1st through the 4th. And then they'll have different individuals that will then come in. But let me get back to what you need to understand. This business of Mckee giving raises, and this is really important. I don't know why local media doesn't talk about this, but I know from people involved with the current administration in DC that the fact is, and I don't know why it's not covered, there's still an FBI investigation into the closing of the Washington Bridge. And I hope Lynn Miller is watching. These aren't raises. Governor Mckee, he's buying silence. They're not pay raises, they're bribes. Of course, these people shouldn't be making this kind of money. It's supposed to be public service. The system is broken. Mckee's not giving them raises. He's continuing to buy their silence. Look at Breaking Bad. What happens? Remember, Hank can't figure out. All these guys are in jail, and they're still being quiet. And Mike, who worked with Jesse and Walter White, and then it turns out they all have the same attorney. and he's putting the money in their safety deposit boxes. As they use the term in Breaking Bad, he's keeping them whole. They're all remaining silent as long as the money is still coming. That's what's going. These aren't raises. Should these people be getting money? Of course not. But see, I think it's interesting. Speaker Joe Shekarchi said, I just don't think it's the right time because he has nothing to hide. Who has something to hide? Mckee. So Mckee, he's got, and what is so damaging here, what is so destructive here is this is essentially like gun to the head negotiating. If he doesn't give all of these individuals their raises, what if they start to rat him out? What if they start to cooperate with the FBI? This isn't, I object to the term pay raises. It's bribes. Of course they shouldn't be getting that kind of money. I have no idea why these people are still getting this kind of money. I can understand, and I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but I do understand. And I think Dave Portnoy of Barstools was saying someone's got to go with this whole Signal app thing where the war plan was leaked. Somebody's got to be fired here, whoever it is. But this is too much of a screw up for someone not to get fired. And I think a lot of people, rightfully so, feel that way about the Washington Bridge. How can it be that no one, think of that? I mean, that's still mind-blowing when you think about it. No one has been demoted. No one's made a penny less. There's many times that in various companies that people they lose their title, right? Or they get shifted around, whatever it may be. But this business that not one person, everyone just continues along as if everything's fine. I'm telling you that the reason I believe, my opinion, why that is Mckee continues to buy their silence. That's what the game is. If the money gets, if the spigot gets shut off, then maybe they start talking. And I think that's what's happening. I think that that's what's going on. But I noticed that, and that's why Speaker Shekarchi, I'll give Speaker Joe Shekarchi credit. He doesn't care if someone at DOT gets fired. He whatever. I haven't asked him if he thinks that someone should be fired, but what is this? That's why he's saying, well, no, these people shouldn't be getting pay raises. It's not the time for it. Of course, it's not the time for it. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Call them today, 401-732-1730. J. Perry Paving. Get your driveway paved. Get your parking lot paved. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service. J. Perry Paving. Call them for a free estimate. Free quote, 401-732-1730. And remember, no one has a better package for veterans, a better deal for veterans than J. Perry Paving. If you're a veteran or you are related to a veteran, maybe it's your mom or dad or your son or your grandson or an uncle or a grandfather, if they're a veteran, no one has a better package for them than J. Perry Paving. You know what your grandfather, who's a veteran, you know what he'd love? His driveway paved. Your mom, who's a veteran, you know what she'd love? Her driveway paved. Who wouldn't want a driveway paved? J. Perry Paving, 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. Admittedly, because of the Cranston caregiver story, because of that, and because of the Reed trial, I'll admit, I don't have every detail on the situation. Although I'm looking now, was Hegseth drunk? Rep shouting match with CIA director. The reporter released them all. I'll just say this. What I don't understand is President Trump, was Hegseth drunk? President Trump gave them an out that said, listen, they're going to tighten things up. It looks like it was just a mistake and so forth. Where the people involved, where Waltz made a mistake was this doubling down and then challenging, and they're just, to go after the reporter. I don't think that was the right move. So, because then, this is where then they just start digging themselves deeper and deeper. Now, granted, the operation, the thing about the war plan, how that reporter, President Trump, to me, seemed to give them the out. Listen, they're new, rookie mistake. We're going to tighten things up. We're moving on. But when Walt starts saying, that guy, I don't even know this guy, and blah blah blah. Well, now they're delivering photos that have him with the reporter. So that doesn't sound like a good development to me. So I think it should have just been that they should have just followed the lead of the president. That's what I think. They should have followed the lead of President Trump. And I also say this is unfair to the administration to be doing this. So I don't know exactly what happened with it. Listen, is it the worst thing in the world? No. But this sure comes off to me like an unforced error. But now, the longer this drags on, like, what do you think is going to happen? That the Democrat Party's out to get them? I hope that's not considered news to anyone. Of course they are. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Arch Design Builders. Call them today, 401-207-4124. 401-207-4124. Arch Design Builders. Whether it's for basements or deck or special project, interior, kitchen, bathroom, anything to do with your home or business, why not set up that free consultation with Arch Design Builders? 401-218-9707. I'd like you get to meet with Ed and Roxanne, have a conversation with them. Let's dream. This is the space. What can you tell us? Arch Design Builders. As far as Governor Mckee, they had all that money sitting around, and I actually, I don't know how we're supposed to react that the federal government is taking $31 million that, for whatever reason, the Mckee people sat on. But let's just be real honest that locally, Governor Mckee blew through all that COVID money. He did. He wasted all that COVID money. He wanted to get the state troopers to vote for him. So he gave them all bonuses to wear their body cams. Okay, that should be fine. That should be fine. I bet I'm giving JR a heart attack. Let me just double check it, everybody. Look at that. I think I was just making a hand gesture, and then it came like that. I think it should be fine. Yeah. Okay, that should be fine. It should be. Should be fine. All right, no more hand gestures at 149. All right, JR, we're good. We're good. 149. This is the real news. All right, no more hand gestures. Problem with being an Italian with technology, Italian Irish actually. All right, let's stay on schedule while we have audio and sound. This portion of our program is brought to you by, look at that nice, well, somewhat sunny out, Watson Materials. Folks, call them today, Watson Materials. Call Sean, request a quote. The most complete selection of landscape material in Rhode Island is Watson Material, 401-885-0600. 401-885-0600. Watson Materials, landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone, Watson Materials. The most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. Call them today. Sorry about that, JR. We had maybe 60 seconds of of um, of silence, but we're back. Yes, we'll be doing Road Patrol Live later, and they just put out the media list. They're doing a randomizer, and I will be in the courtroom. Next Wednesday is day one, jury selection in the current Karen Reed trial. There's only 10 slots, and I was selected. And you can also see me on Court TV that is seen coast to coast. Now, this portion of the program, I did receive an email from Fred. Fred asked me who's the company I mentioned who could resurface his pickleball court. You want to, Fred, I'm glad you contacted me. Contact Corey at Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. They do it all. They'll seal coat your driveway. They'll seal coat a parking lot. They do crack filling, pothole repair, line striping. They can make your pavement look like new. Keep your parking lot safe, fix potholes, cracks, make sure your lines are bright. And they also do, as I said, sports court resurfacing, pickleball, tennis, basketball. They can also epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring. Contact Corey today. Free quote, free estimate, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815 for Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Well, folks, good afternoon on this Wednesday. Yes, we're going to be active and out later tonight with Road Patrol. And a week from today is day one, jury selection now of the Karen Reed trial. I want to once again, though, commend, I just think the Cranston police, that was not an easy situation with the caregiver. And I know some people are still curious as to what happens now. You know, where does this go? Well, we're going to have to wait and follow and the situation with Cranston police. And there's still some time on this. Today is also, I know, Rhode Island lawmakers to hear testimony on assault weapons ban. And I know there's going to be a bunch of people, they're going to be up at the State House and is going to be protesting that. So I hate the fact that they even have to protest that, but they're going to have to be up there and they're going to have to be making sure their voices are heard. Otherwise, keep in mind, you know, Governor Mckee, for him, it's just a voting issue. West Warwick teacher accused of assaulting student to go to trial next month. All right, well, we'll follow that. We'll ask Stephanie Murphy about that. Here it is. Cranston leaders honor man who helped locate nonverbal woman. So very happy for that man. He helped find Linda DeLumba, nonverbal autism, missing for 4 days. He's a mechanic with the Cranston Fire Department. I didn't realize that. Outstanding citizenship from the city. So proud of you, responding in a time of need. You saved her life. All of that true. Roberta Gerard lied about where and DeLumba went missing. He found her curled up, fetal position, in the back of a parked car on Pond Street, called police. Shocked, relieved, was able to help. I just consider myself a citizen doing the right thing. Cranston police are expected to release more details today about what they believe happened to DeLumba. So, you know, that I think the biggest thing takeaway from that is just the fact that she is alive. This thing, Rhode Island lawmakers to consider several gun bills, including it's all Governor Mckee with votes and politics. It's the red shirts or the orange shirts or whatever they are. I mean, that's what's going on. That's what's going on with the whole thing. Anyone that follows it's hardly a problem. If anything, you could certainly argue things are getting more dangerous and more people should have the right to defend themselves. But just know, Governor McKee, he even had that in his campaign announcement. So is that really needed? It's not needed, but that's the reason he's going forward with it. Let me just double check. Now, remember, right now at 1:56, if you're listening and you're on Mendon Road, pop in and see the Queen of Health, Marie, at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland, and you get to see the Queen of Health, Marie. You know what I like? One of the things I like that Marie does is she's very, very knowledgeable on, folks. There's so many natural products out there. There's so many natural things you can do for yourself that you don't need something over the counter. You don't need to take a pill. There's so many natural ingredients that are out there. I like that. And I like that Marie is a big fan of Bobby Kennedy, and he has pushed for a lot of that. I think it's also terrific. There's far more. I saw a TikTok video where this guy, he shot it inside of a grocery store, and he talks about you don't check the front of the package. You should check the back of the package. And when you think about it, all the ingredients and everything that's in there, it actually should be on the front of the package. And there's so much sugar in things and unnatural and artificial flavor and all these other things. So much of that it's bad for your body and it's unnecessary. And what I like is Marie is very knowledgeable about that. Marie knows and can suggest various products that she carries that you just sprinkle a little bit inside whatever it is that you're making. That's why she has all kinds of ingredients that you could put into tomato sauce or soup or whatever, and it adds flavor, but it's also good for you. And mushrooms is a good example of that. Because of Marie, I love to buy fresh mushrooms at Dave's and then cook them and then put them into anything. And they help keep, they're good for your body. It keeps you healthy. And the taste is delicious as well. So right now, the sun is kind of peeking through a little bit on this Wednesday. Stop in and see the Queen of Health, especially if you're on Mendon Road, Marie, and It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. You have a dedicated local business person. You have a dedicated retailer. You have someone who is attempting to bring health to everyone that she encounters. And she does it with knowledge. She does it with a smile. I have so much respect for Marie, the Queen of Health. Pop in and see her, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Well, folks, on this Wednesday, again, we will be out. I know we're going to do Road Patrol Live later. We'll see if something breaks this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll be out looking for it. Next week, we're going to weave in and out with some of the Karen Read retrial coverage. Looks like I will be in the courthouse for jury selection. So that will kick off next week. I want to thank JR. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Remember, we will be out later for Road Patrol Live. In the meantime, enjoy this Wednesday. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, we'll see you later tonight on Road Patrol Live.